Writing Sharon. Oh, I should check the Facebook Live that it works. Hi, Sharon, you are now a panelist. And hello to our one attendee who's early. Hang out, have fun. We see you there. Really good to see you. Hi.
I love that picture of Mandy. That's hilarious.
Mom cubed because you're a mom to the fourth power. Yeah.
Well, no, it's just like the expression on her face is so cute. Okay, so
what do we call today? Is connectivity and well-being, right?
Connection and well-being.
Connection and well-being with Sharon. It's going to Facebook in a moment. Not yet.
Okay. So I didn't need a password or anything, by the way.
I know. Yeah, we tested that with Mandy.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to go live on Facebook, but we won't yet.
Yes. Well, I'll put the PowerPoint up.
Nice.
Excellent. And the lighting is okay? It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not, okay.
Yeah, I can't use my Logitech right now. I'm using just my regular camera. You can probably tell.
And that, it looks fine, actually.
I know, but the Logitech is so much nicer. See, it's just nicer, but it's weird. It's kind of weird today.
So everything for tomorrow, we're all set. There's nothing I need to be doing, right?
Nope, I'll probably just send
Okay.
you something to look over before I send it to him, but maybe not.
Okay. No, you don't need to. You know what? If you can just copy me on whatever you send to him, and you know, then that's fine.
Great. Great. Okay. So we are ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back. Meaning just log out. I'll see you soon. Hello, welcome to our viewers who are now joining. We are still a few minutes from starting, so hello. Good to see you. Sharon, you're not on mute, are you?
No.
Okay, great. I can hear you. Super. Okay, so as we're getting started, I haven't even introduced Sharon. She is here, but you haven't even seen her for the next 4 minutes. Could you type into the chat, please, either to just the panelists, could you type in where you're calling in from, where geographically you are? And we will get a sense of where you are all calling in from. All right, we've got some people in California. Sparks, Nevada, very cool. Albany, California, I know that area. Branham, Texas, yeah. Oh, one of you is very close to me, is in San Jose, just near me in the Bay Area. Very cool. Yes, in Arlington, Virginia. Great, good to see where people are calling in from. And you know, since we still have 3 minutes before we're starting and before we're actually broadcasting it, could you also tell me what's the biggest pain right now for you of everything? Because there's so many, right, Sharon? There's so many. But what's either the biggest question you have or the biggest pain point or just the biggest, I wish this were different.
Or what you miss most about life before Corona. Quiet.
Somebody says quiet. Going to eat at restaurants. Thank you. We're seeing you jump on. In the meantime, what we've asked everybody is, what is frustrating to you about these times? So what is a pain point for you? Both for this session, but also for future sessions. What's really kind of not fun right now? And Sharon also phrased it as, what do you miss most from before? Oh, one person said, I miss most the change of scenery. You mean between home and work? Is that what you mean? And then let's see, getting together with friends. Oh, I wonder if this is like the change of scenery. Another person is saying, I used to have a lot of variety in my work, going to visit with prospects, etc. Now it seems like Zoom meetings every day. Sharon and I can relate. Oh, here's
definite Zoom fatigue, screen fatigue.
Here's one, biggest pain point, communication tools that are not able to handle the necessary capacity. I hear you. Or when your internet gets unstable, less fun. Traveling, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You don't kind of miss traveling as much when you're doing it, but then when you're not doing it for 4 weeks at a time. Yeah. What do you miss the most, Sharon?
Oh, easy, swimming.
Swimming, right.
What about you?
Oh, that's so weird. The first thing that came to mind is I don't miss very much. That's strange.
Wow.
Interesting. Huh. That's a weird self-reflection. I encourage all of you to get either a glass of water or a cup of tea or something, even though it's 20 minutes. And we'll start in just 1 minute.
How nice that there's nothing really missing for you.
Yeah, weird, huh? It looks like everything's fine. So in a minute, perhaps it should get ready to go, or maybe we'll need to reach out. Oh, if everything goes well, this is for all the attendees, we will have closed captioning along the bottom of the screen. So you should start to see that in about 1 minute or 2 minutes. And if you don't, you might see it 5 minutes into it. So we're trying something out. And if this works, we might do it for the future too. Okay,
So,
yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as a viewer, do you need to put any setting on to see the closed captioning?
No, thanks for asking. Nope, everyone will see. If you see closed captioning across the bottom of your screen, tell us, please. Mandy's sharing, would you please tell us? All right, we're about to start. I'm just going live to Facebook, just a moment. Here we go, and then we'll start the show. I'm really excited to hear what Sharon's going to say. Please give me a minute. I need to push the Facebook Live button. Okay, here we go. Closed captioning may have started, but it can't say anything because we're not saying anything yet. Here we go. Okay, and we are now live. Hello, everyone. This is day X of your quarantine and you're working from home. And this is a new week for us in these work remote strategies that we're providing here as the coaches of Silicon Valley Change. We all just sort of got together and said, what can we do to help? What snippets can we give people? So today's snippets are on connection and well-being, and they're by Sharon Danzger, one of our coaches. And Sharon also, in addition to coaching, she does a lot of group presentations and also web presentations on topics like being super productive. So here we go. You have Shannon full-time for the next 20 minutes, and then we'll do Q&A. If you have a question in the middle, you can also pop that in then. We look forward to it. Welcome, Sharon. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senya. So for those of you who were tuned in, last week I covered a little bit about structure and how you can optimize working from home. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about two other pieces that are also really key to optimizing both work and well-being while we're all in quarantine and all home. So the first thing really relates to connection. So even if you are home with other people, you can feel really isolated. So it's very important for us to stay connected and engaged with others. And there are 4 ways that I think that we can do this. One is with your colleagues. It's really important to communicate with your colleagues probably a little more often than you otherwise would. And somebody pointed out to me a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was a really interesting point, that we tend to reach out to our colleagues when there's a problem to be solved or something that needs to be fixed. And given that we have an influx of negative information coming to us around the coronavirus, this is particularly challenging because now we have even more negative information if the only time we're engaging with colleagues is when there's a problem. So I'm challenging everybody to reach out to their colleagues to share good news, whether it's personal or professional, share small wins, small victories to help balance out that relationship between positive and negative. When it comes to your family, if they're not living in the house with you, be sure to stay in constant communication and try video conferencing instead of just a phone call. We do know that when you can see somebody's facial reactions, it really enhances that connection and that experience. And the same thing in terms of reaching out to friends. Try to schedule virtual coffee or virtual lunch. Virtual happy hours have become extremely popular. And it's really nice if you can try to focus your conversation on things other than the coronavirus. And then lastly, we are all part of a community. So how can you be of service to others? How can you support other people in your community? If you know of somebody who has tested positive and so they really can't leave their house to get groceries, perhaps if you're going to get groceries, you can drop some groceries off for them. If you know senior citizens living alone, this is really, really challenging for them. Be sure to check in, give them a call, or if they have an iPhone, you can try FaceTiming them. I have a really good friend who lives locally. She's 94 and she lives on her own. And I usually FaceTime with her each morning, which is a lot of fun actually for both of us. While I don't think she knows how to initiate a FaceTime call, it's really very intuitive if you call someone by FaceTime for them to pick it up. And then lastly, it's really important that we acknowledge and validate how we're feeling. All of us are reacting to the coronavirus and the forced quarantine and social distancing in our own way. And how everybody's reacting and whatever emotions are surrounding it, they're all 100% correct. And so it's important to show ourselves some self-compassion. I am a productivity consultant, and I am telling you, it's really, really unlikely that you're going to be as productive today as you were 4 or 5 weeks ago. And that's okay. I mean, these are really challenging times and we're dealing with a pandemic. So isn't it understandable that we're not as productive as we were when this wasn't going on? Not to mention the fact that many of us have very small children at home that we now have to care for. So it's important to acknowledge and validate your own feelings and those of your colleagues, your friends, and your family members. And something that I wanted to share with you is this emotion meter. So there's 100 emotions that are listed on this meter. And you can see along the left side, you have energy going from low energy to high energy. And along the bottom, it goes from unpleasant emotions to very pleasant emotions. And I think for the most part, many of us are living largely in that reddish area in the top left, where we're worried or concerned, maybe a little bit afraid or nervous, feeling frustrated or stressed. And that's totally normal. It also doesn't mean that we can't have parts of our day where we're living in the green and yellow area of being focused or optimistic and certainly feeling grateful. But I do worry that without paying some attention to bringing more positivity into our daily routines, we can fall into that blue area, which is where depression lives. So for me personally, you can imagine, I'm into productivity. I love planning. I would say probably about 3.5 weeks ago, I kind of hit a wall where there was so much uncertainty. It left me feeling really ungrounded and a little unhinged. And so I kind of sat with that for a little bit and I shared it with some close friends and family members. Now I'm sharing it with all of you. But interestingly, what I found was the more I shared it with other people, the more they shared with me how they were feeling, the more we just acknowledged and validated how we were all feeling. It had the effect of reducing both the duration and intensity of our feelings. And there is research that supports that when you are able to specifically label an emotion, it will reduce the intensity and duration of those negative feelings. So I highly encourage you to think about how you're feeling and be okay with it, because it's all totally normal. These are unprecedented times. And it's okay that we're not as productive as we might like to be. So the other piece that I wanted to cover is well-being. And this is a really, really broad topic. And I wanted to share 3 pieces of well-being with you around sleep, exercise, and mindfulness. And part of these 3 and selecting these 3 is that people will often say to me, come on, Sharon, tell me what's the key to being productive? If I could only do a couple of things, what should I be doing? And I know they're expecting me to talk about to-do lists and calendars and managing their time and managing their focus. And actually, I think these 3 things are the key to productivity: getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, moving, and having a mindfulness practice. And coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, these 3 things also are correlated with boosting your immune system. So while the focus has been on trying to help us avoid coming into contact with the virus, which of course is great, I do suspect that we probably will come into contact with the virus, and maybe we already have. So what is in our control? What's in our control is to do things that can help boost our immune system, so that hopefully if we do come into contact with the virus, maybe our reaction to it won't be as severe. So let's start with sleep. You probably have heard the term sleep hygiene, which is a phrase that covers a wide range of things that you can do to get better quality sleep and to benefit your body and your brain. So sleeping not only helps our body recover, it also helps our brain recover from the day's work. And the top thing that I have come across in the research around sleep is that it's important to have consistency with both your sleep and wake time. So my interpretation of this is that it's not to the minute, but rather within an hour, that you go to sleep within the same hour each night and you wake up within the same hour each morning. I used to be of the belief that I could be short on sleep during the week and then sleep really, really long on the weekends. And they say that that doesn't really work so well. So now that we're not out late partying because we're all quarantined, see if you can start to create more of a routine and more consistency in your sleep and wake times. They also recommend 7 to 8 hours a night. Now, I have found that I actually have been needing more sleep over these past few weeks. I suspect that's because there's this underlying stress associated with the coronavirus that is making me more tired. And if you're feeling that as well, then give your body a little extra sleep because it needs it. Screens emit a blue light, which we know about, and that reduces our melatonin hormone. And that melatonin signals our brain that it's time to get ready to go to sleep. So try to avoid being on screens close to bedtime. If you must be on a screen, at least think about shifting your screen so that it doesn't emit so much blue light. There is a setting where you can do that. Or on Amazon, they have glasses that are $10 or $12 that will reduce the blue light as well. And in terms of a cool room and blackout shades, these are the kinds of things that can help improve the quality of your sleep. But if you can only do one of these things, the one thing I would suggest focusing on is the consistent wake and sleep time. Now, I know when it comes to exercise, we all were raised with, you need to do cardio exercise a few times a week for a certain amount of time. And that's great. What we didn't know until more recently is that there's also a lot of research around the importance of movement. So if you are great about getting that cardio exercise every day, but are sitting all day long, that's actually still really bad for you. And this is probably why you might have heard the expression that sitting is the new smoking. So be sure to get up and incorporate movement into your day. Getting outside is great while we still can. There are some parts of the world where their lockdown means that they cannot go and exercise outside. I don't know if that's coming. I really hope not, because here in the Northeast, the weather's finally getting really nice. So take advantage of it if you can. Get outside. If you can add movement, exercise to being outside, even better. If you're inside and you're used to having some kind of strength training routine, going to the gym, you can really easily replace some of that at home. So on Amazon, I bought some strength training bands. A little package of a variety of them cost about $30, and a jump rope was about $10. So for $40, I have my little at-home gym. Now, I did discover after the first few times of jumping rope that my knees don't particularly like jumping rope, but my 17-year-old daughter loves it, and she can jump rope for about a half an hour. It's fantastic cardio exercise, and kids really love it. And so if you have kids who are in school, a jump rope could be yours and their best friend. And then lastly, be sure to incorporate some movement. Get up every 25 minutes, half hour, or at least every hour. Move around, stretch, just find ways to move. It's really important for our well-being. And then lastly, I have found that no matter what topic I have been sharing, there's always a way to incorporate the importance of mindfulness. Over the past 20 years, there's been an explosion in research associated with the benefits of a mindfulness practice, and I thought I would share with you some of the top things that I've taken away. So one is that it reduces activity in the part of the brain, the amygdala, where anxiety lives. It helps you sleep better. It increases your working memory. So this is the part of our brain that reaches into past experiences that we've learned from and can access greater resources so we can be better and more creative in solving problems. A mindfulness practice is associated with reduced symptoms associated with depression. It also improves our concentration and focus. And as I mentioned earlier, it boosts your immune system. And if that weren't enough, the truth of the matter is many meditation practices are based on breathing, and that's free. You always have it with you. So what I'd like to do, since many of you may not have experienced a guided meditation practice before, is we're going to do a really short guided meditation. And the voice you're going to hear is a friend of mine, Corey Mascara. He and I are assistant instructors at the University of Pennsylvania in their Applied Positive Psychology program. And it's really short, so I'm just going to take my headphones off so you can hear. One second. Okay, here we go.
Start by finding a comfortable posture, seated, lying down, or standing. To settle, let's just take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then let it out slowly through the mouth, inviting the jaw to soften, the shoulders, the belly, and the hands. And as you rest here, just simply becoming aware of the fact that you're breathing. Or we might say that this body is breathing you. feeling the air as it comes in through the nose, expanding the lungs, the belly, the chest, and then feeling the body deflate as we take an exhale. And very simply, all we're doing is just following the sensations of the breath, moment by moment. Feeling the movement of the breath, like waves coming into shore and then retreating back. And as the mind wanders, which it always will, you don't have to beat yourself up. Just simply notice thoughts coming and going like clouds passing through the sky, and then gently return your attention back to this breath in this moment. Right now, nowhere else you need to be, nothing you need to achieve, and no problems you need to fix.
So I would love for you to put in the chat box how that felt for you. And while you're putting your comments in, I just want to share with you there are so many mindfulness apps out there. These are just a few. Headspace and Calm, you have probably heard of. They seem to be the two most popular paid for apps. 10% Happier is Dan Harris. He happens to have a book by the same name and another great book called Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics. I use Insight Timer. They have over 32,000 free meditations. And Simple Habit, if you liked Corey Muscara's voice, he has a 5-day kind of starter program on Simple Habit. And he also has a new great daily podcast called Practicing Human. So I see that some people wrote that it was calm, peaceful, relaxing. I will share with you that when I first started meditating, I was just sitting and breathing for about 2 minutes. It actually made me feel really anxious. And that's also a normal response to starting some kind of meditation practice. For me, I decided if it made me feel that uncomfortable to sit in my body for 2 minutes, I probably needed it even more than I thought. And so I stuck with it. For 2.5 years, I was with my kitchen timer. Then I switched over to Insight Timer and the guided meditations. And now I do 10 to 15 minutes a day. For those of you who have small children, this is the one thing I wish I had known when my kids were smaller and more likely to want to do something that mommy's doing. Insight Timer has a whole section on meditation for kids, and I imagine the other apps do as well. This is a great, great skill for kids to develop when they're really young. It's really useful, and it's a great way to manage stress. So I wanted to do a quick recap of some of the strategies that we covered. And when I go through it, if you can pick 1 or 2 things that you think, wow, that's easy, I can do that, and it's going to have a big impact, I would just start with that. So the first is communicate with your colleagues clearly and often, and don't forget to share some good news with them as well. Video conference with family members, set up time for virtual coffee, lunch, or happy hour with friends. Seek opportunities to support your community. How can you be of service to others? Acknowledge and validate your feelings and the feelings of others. Just know that it's totally normal that you will not be as productive as you normally are. Practice good sleep hygiene. If possible, get outside. It really will make you feel so much better. And prioritize exercise, movement, and mindfulness. So that's all I've got. I'm happy to answer any questions, and stick around.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you. Before I start with the questions, I'll just read off some of the answers that people gave you for how the meditation made them feel. And as I'm reading those out, feel free to put a question into the chat or into the Q&A. We'll check both. So here are what some people said. Calm. Wow, so peaceful. Relaxing, exclamation point. This short meditation relaxed me. And then one person, very practical, very in the time we're in now, hard to focus with other people in the house. Could see how it could be calming by myself. Yes, absolutely. Somebody just asked a technical question. Can you share the Facebook page with people who are not being coached by Silicon Valley Change? Yes, absolutely. The Facebook page and the Zoom webinar, both are fine to share. This is for everybody. Thanks for asking. Okay, so first question is this question. Great, this meditation is very calming. It's really nice to do with someone. This is a question from me. I was on a Zoom call yesterday where also we did a meditation, very calming. I don't do it by myself, Sharon. I will do it with my kids. We use the Insight Timer that you gave us. I will never hit the Insight Timer button by myself. I think I've tried once in the 2 months that I've had it. What's wrong with me?
So there's nothing wrong with you, and I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I think while meditation is sort of the most common pathway to mindfulness, it's not the only pathway to mindfulness. So some other examples that people have pointed to as their mindfulness practice are when they're in the shower. They are in the shower, completely present with the water, smelling the shampoo, feeling the lather. I think the key is that when they're doing that, they are not ruminating about the past, and they are not stressing or worrying about potential future stressors. So they're fully present. Other people describe running and when they get that runner's high as a mindfulness experience, where they're completely present and in the moment. I think the most important thing, you can try meditation, but if it doesn't work for you, find the thing that does, where you can be fully present without all of that other. So in one book I read, they call it time traveling, right? Where you're time traveling to the past or the future. You want to find that activity that you can do where you're fully present. Washing dishes. Some people use ironing. And now is a good time. We're home. We're doing all sorts of cleaning. Maybe you could pick some cleaning ritual as your mindfulness experience.
Now that I can relate to. About 2 decades ago, I met with somebody who was this was a shock comment for me. He enjoyed Sundays and he enjoyed doing laundry and vacuuming and cleaning the kitchen. I just didn't get it, literally 2 decades ago. But then over time, he said that it was peaceful and he could just do it methodically. And now I now sometimes find that I enjoy cleaning the kitchen methodically, slowly. It's shocking, but in sort of in that way where it's
Yeah.
the motion. So funny. Another question just came in, another technical question. Can we share the recording by email? The recording is on the Facebook site and it will also be on YouTube. And we'll put those 2 links in at the here as well. And we can also send it out to you by email. So yes, we can share that. That is available afterwards. Okay, questions for Sharon on anything about well-being. Oh, could you stop sharing the screen so we can see you a little?
Oh, of course.
Thank you. About well-being or about community and connecting with people. Any questions about any of those? And while we're, yes, I will share the recording with you.
One other quick thing is that guided meditation was just under 3 minutes. So sometimes people, I like to ask in a group, how long did you think that was? Some people will think it was like 5 or 6 minutes. Some people think it was 2 minutes, but it was just under 3 minutes. And I think the remarkable thing is how relaxed and calm just 3 minutes can make you feel.
Yeah, yeah. What are you all who are on the call, what are you taking away as an action for you to take given things that you've heard on the call? And while you're saying that to us, I have another question for Sharon. What have you've mentioned some things that are different for you, like that you miss swimming or some things that are different. What have you purposefully changed since being at home?
Well, so because I can't swim and I was used to, I'm a big swimmer, so I was swimming like 2.5 miles 5 times a week. So coincidentally in January, based on BJ Fogg's new book, Tiny Habits, I decided that I wanted to try to start running. And so I started by running a minute in January and adding 15 seconds at a time, then a half a minute at a time. When we went into quarantine, I think I was at 5 or 6 minutes. And then every time I ran, I would increase it by a minute. So today I'm up to 21 minutes. I don't know how far I'm going to get with this, honestly, because it's hard and it's painful, but I do love good cardio exercise. And so at least I'm getting fresh air and I'm walking a little bit after as well so that my heart rate comes down.
Mhm.
And I feel, I'm calling it my, one of my Corona goals. The other Corona goal I have is to do a headstand, which I've been working on also. So it's good, things I can do while I'm on quarantine.
I'm connected with Sharon on Facebook, and once I saw this photo of her doing a headstand against the wall, I just about flipped. I've known Sharon for a little while. I'm like, oh my God, you're doing that. That's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm like 5'9.5". There's a lot of leg to get up. It's hard.
Okay, so you've got these two Corona goals. They're both physical goals. They're sort of things that you're working on.
Yeah, I like hard physical challenges. I
Yeah.
like to see what I'm capable of doing, especially as I'm getting older.
Uh-huh. So another person, you wrote it to everyone, and headstand is another person's Corona goals too. Nice. Go headstand, people. And one person wrote to us that she and her husband found that they're napping more, and they're not big nappers at all, but it makes sense given that there's underlying stress and what you described.
Yeah, I think we need to be a little more, like, we're so busy taking care of ourselves and our family. We have to make sure that we're washing our hands and we're getting enough food. And there's so much sort of planning and coordination and checking in on, for me, I have kids who are not living at home, that you almost forget that there's this underlying stress, and we need to take a little better care of ourselves than maybe we normally do.
Yeah. Another question comes about connection. So you say that connection is important, but whom really should be reaching out to? We be reaching out to. So you said keep in close contact with your family, but really, whom should we be reaching out to?
So, I have found people have told me a lot of stories about reaching out to people they haven't spoken to, sometimes in decades, and how exciting that is. So, it, like, anyone is fair game.
Yeah.
I think I personally am quite concerned about elderly people who live alone, and even those in assisted living facilities and nursing homes are being kept away from each other and the normal community activities. And to the extent that you can reach out to them, if you know someone, I think that's a really kind thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It also gives kids sometimes something to do, like to reach out to a neighbor by phone, an older neighbor by phone.
Yeah. And of course, healthcare workers who are right on the front lines. And, just making sure, when I was in the supermarket the other day, to thank people for still working. I mean, they really, are putting themselves at risk to help the rest of the community.
We have another couple of comments coming on takeaways. So here's another one. Making it a point to set up more one-on-one meetings at work and outside work, connecting with people and setting up virtual phone and meetings, just like we were talking about. So connect with someone you haven't talked to for even 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone was saying they really love the Corona goal notion. It's a positive side effect. Wouldn't that be funny if everybody had a physical Corona goal and then a connection Corona goal? Like, what is your Corona goal? And whenever this is over, we have no idea. That's the funny uncertainty of our time. When this is over, okay, well, here's how I met or didn't meet my Corona goal.
Right. And Senya, you and I have discussed that we've had sort of extended family get-togethers via Zoom, because everyone's available. They're not going to be out somewhere. So that's an amazing opportunity. And I know that I will miss that when this is all over, to have that extended connection.
That's true. Both my kids have been showing little piano or music things to the rest of the family. Like, look, this is what I worked on this week. And people are open to listening and they're interested. We're all home. Thank you so very much, Sharon. I am going to check if we have anything else outstanding. No, we're good in terms of the Q&A. Thank you so much. And please join us for the rest of this week, whether you're joining us by Zoom or on Facebook. I will send out this recording. We will post it up on YouTube as well afterwards. Thank you, everyone. The rest of the week, what does the rest of the week have? It has, I don't have it in front of me. It has more connectivity. It has bravery. It has setting up your best day. That is Eileen on Thursday. And then it has, what do you do if you feel isolated? So those are the topics for the rest of this week. And again, it's just very quick, practical tips that we're giving you. You're getting a lot of thank yous sent to you through the comments.
Well, thank you all. And I will tell you that I do know the speakers for this week, and they are all amazing. So I would definitely tune in. I will certainly be tuning in.
Thanks, everyone, so much. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.